Hello and welcome to this video. We are going to solve the exercise exploiting NoSQL injection to extract data. In the video description you will find a link to a complete write-up. If you have any questions during the video, take a look at the write-up. Everything is described in more detail there. This exercise has the difficulty level practitioner, and the goal is to log into the application as an administrator. The database backend is MongoDB. Before we start, make sure you have Burp Suite installed, either the Community or Professional Edition. After starting the exercise, the store should look like the one in the video. However, it is possible that the products in the store are different, as the Web Security Academy exercises are generated again and again. It is important to note that this has no influence on the solution. At the top left you will find the link's My Account. Click on it and log in with the username Wiener and the password Peter. After logging in you should have access to your account. Now switch to the Burp Suite and open the Burp Proxy. In Burp Proxy, open the HTTP History tab and search for the GET request to the endpoint /user/lookup, user equals Wiener. The HTTP history shows all requests that have passed through the Burp proxy so far. We now want to send the request to the Burp repeater. To do this, we move the mouse over the request and press the right mouse button. A context menu appears in which we select the Send to Repeater option. Now we open the Burp repeater and take a closer look at the request. The first line of the request is the most interesting for us. Here we insert a single apostrophe at the end of the user named Wiener. When this request is sent, we receive an HTTP/200OK response with the following error message. There was an error getting user details. Based on this error message, we now know that the user input was not filtered or cleaned correctly. We now insert a valid JavaScript payload to test whether this also has an influence on the response. To do this, we insert the plus sign and close the expression with another single apostrophe. Before we can send this request, we must first URL encode it. To do this, select plus and press Ctrl+U in the Burp repeater. Now we can send the request. When we look at the response, we see the data of the user Wiener. Now we want to test whether the response can also be influenced by inserting Boolean conditions. To do this, we insert a condition that is evaluated as false. The expression must also be URL encoded again with Ctrl+U. In the response, we receive the message, "Could not find user." Now we want to send a condition that is evaluated as true. To do this, we change our expression to this. After we have encoded the URL with the key combination Ctrl+U, our first line of the request looks like this. When we look at the response, we see the data of the user Wiener. This demonstrates that you can trigger different responses for true and false conditions. Now we want to find out the length of the administrator password. To do this, we change the value of the parameter user as follows. This expression is used to test whether the administrator password is shorter than 30 characters. Before the request is sent, it must be URL encoded with Ctrl+U. The first line of the request then looks like this. In the response, we receive an HTTP/200OK with the administrator's information. This means that the condition is fulfilled, as the password is less than 30 characters long. We can now try out different password lengths. If we enter a password length of 8, we receive the message, "Could not find user." From this we can conclude that the administrator password is 8 characters long. We now send this request to the burp intruder. To do this, move the mouse over the request and click the right mouse button. A context menu then appears in which you select the Send to Intruder option. We now switch to burp intruder and adjust our request. The request have to URL encode with Ctrl+U. Now we need to specify which parameters are to be changed. To do this, we select the 0 in and click on the Add button. We do the same with the A. The first line of the request should now look like this. We now select Cluster Bomb Attack from the drop-down menu. In the Payload section, we can now adjust the two values we have just defined. Payload 1 is the 0 and Payload 2 is the A. For payload configuration, we now add the lowercase letters from AZ. A predefined list can be used here for burp Professional. Now click on the Start Attack button. In the Community Edition of Burp Suite, this attack can take a little longer, as there are speed restrictions for the burp intruder. After completing the attack, we sort our result by clicking on Payload 1 and then double-clicking on Length. In the Payload 2 section you see the password. Now we will use the password to log in as the administrator. Switch to your browser and log out the user wiener. Now use the user administrator and the identified password to log in.